Bonjour class, today we're learning 4 new verbs that are somewhat related, but a little bit different, of course, because these are all irregular. And these verbs are voir, croire, recevoir, and apercevoir. La leçon pour aujourd'hui. Nous allons étudier comment conjuguer voir et le verbe relater revoir dans le temps présent, comment conjuguer croire au présent, comment conjuguer recevoir et apercevoir au présent. Nous allons parler de tous les participes passés et puis tous les stems pour les conditionnels. Nous allons commencer avec comment conjuguer voir et revoir au présent. Voir, on conjugue ça je vois, tu vois, il voit, nous voyons, vous voyez et il, elle voit. Voir ne suit pas les règles pour les verbes IR. Voir does not follow the rules for IR verbs, even though it ends in IR. It is irregular, and this is the conjugation. And voir means to see. So for example, je vois, I see, tu vois, you see, nous voyons, we see, etc. Revoir means to see again, right? We have that RE at the beginning, so we can assume that it is a repeated action. Like venir means to come, while revenir means to come back. And to conjugate revoir, you just add RE at the beginning of each conjugation for voir shown above. So just because we have RE before voir, we add RE before each of these. So to say I see again, it would be je revois. You see again, tu revois, and so on and so forth. Next is how to conjugate croire. Croire en anglais, ça veut dire to believe. Et c'est conjugué comme je crois, tu crois, il, elle croit, nous croyons, vous croyez, and il or elle croit. So although it is irregular, there are some similarities that we can notice between the conjugation of croire and voir. And these similarities have to do with this middle group of letters, the OIR, even though there's an E at the end, that OIR in the middle is going to be what helps them retain a similar pattern. So take a second to go back and look at your notes for this slide, voir, and try to see what similarities you can see. So for both, we have the IS, ISIT, ONS, EZ, ENT at the end. Some of the similarities go a little bit further even, but even if you just remember those endings, that will help a lot for remembering the conjugation for these. Next, we have recevoir and apercevoir. Recevoir, ça veut dire to receive, et apercevoir, to catch sight of or to see. And these are also both very related. For example, recevoir is je reçois, tu reçois, il reçoit, nous recevons, vous recevez, and ils, elles reçoivent. And then we have kind of the same endings for apercevoir. So it's aperçoit, so again, C-O-I-S, C-O-I-S, aperçoit, aperçoit, apercevons, which again is very similar to recevons, apercever, and aperçoivent. I know we're not a huge fan of having to remember where accents go, but it's critical that you remember to have this accent. L'accent cédile is what it's called, underneath the C for all the boot verbs, so all the verbs except for nous and vous. Without that accent there, that C becomes a hard sound, so instead of je reçois, it would be je recrois, and that changes it entirely. And these verbs have a somewhat similar conjugation to devoir, if that helps jog our memory and lock these into place. So that was the present tense. For the past tense, if we're using the passé composé, all 4 of these verbs use avoir as the helping verb. None of them are Van der Tramp and none of them are reflexive, so they will all use avoir as the helping verb. And of course, because they are irregular in the present tense, they also have irregular past participles. It's easy to remember though because they all end in U. So voir, the past participle is vu. Croire, the past participle is cru. Recevoir, the past participle is reçu. And apercevoir, the past participle is aperçu. And then lastly, they all, of course, also have irregular stems for the conditional. Voir, we've already encountered. The stem is ver, V-E-R-R. Croire is croire. This one's not too irregular because we're just taking the E off the end. Recevoir, recèvre. And apercevoir, apercèvre. So if you're using the conditional, these are the stems that you would use before you add on the imparfait endings. Et ça, c'est la fin. Go back and make sure that you have everything written down for these. That will be very important. And let me know if you have any questions.